A couple of years ago, I made a video called The Quarter-Life Crisis, in which I touched on common anxieties that you might experience in your mid-20s with regard to your career, relationships, and finances. I explained that much of the stress during the quarter-life crisis stems from hopelessness about whether you're doing the right things with your time and whether your efforts are going to get you where you want to go. So, in this video, now that I'm a couple years older and in my late 20s, let's talk about this decade that's often said to play such a crucial role in shaping the rest of your life. Right off the bat, I'm gonna say that your 20s can be overhyped. Through film, TV, and advertising, you're constantly being served this image of people living their best lives and having the greatest time ever. In combination with the highlight reels that you end up seeing on Instagram, this can really weigh you down, particularly when you see friends getting jobs and promotions or getting married or taking that vacation. None of that has anything to do with you, and the game of comparison is one that can only be lost. When you're fresh out of school, you likely just don't have any money. You're probably saddled with college debt and simply trying to get a job so that you can stop living off of microwave meals and cheap pasta. The issue here is that you find yourself in a spot where no one will give you a job without prior experience, and you cannot get experience without working a job. It's a classic catch-22. I had to endure a little over a year of this, but with a little luck and persistence, I was able to find an opening and weasel my way in. You might have to do this too, and stay resilient because it can feel like you'll never get a job and no one is interested in your skill set. This was my experience after getting a master's degree and trying to break into the corporate side of the entertainment industry for a little while. I thought my high qualifications would make me incredibly hireable, but it was still pretty difficult. You likely have to do a bunch of unpaid internships or work for very little money, but that's the experience that you can leverage for the gigs that you really want. Now, I've learned that during this time, there is an incredible tendency to want to do and accomplish things at an accelerated pace. Graduate early so you can get a great job earlier and win those promotions younger so that you can buy that home faster. I got caught up in this race for a moment too. Graduating college at 20 and getting my master's at 22, it felt good for a moment, but now that I look back, it doesn't affect my life in any way at all. After all of that speed, I ended up completely switching my career at 26, and now I'm an actor and a host and a YouTuber. But that's just life. It shows you what you like and what you don't like, and with time, it gives you clarity about the path that you want to head down. That's why more than speed and competition, I really think your 20s should be about trying as many different things as you can so that you can learn about what you like and what you don't like. This would be the time to experiment and go high risk. Because if you fail, the worst thing that can happen would be that you'll start over and you'll still be incredibly young. The goal should be to keep trying to move in the direction that you think you would like to be in by taking active steps and building your base in those areas. Gaining the experiences or skill sets that can help you become a valuable person in the workplace or in society is what clinical psychologist Dr. Meg J calls identity capital. It's your own personal stock in your personality and output. Meg J had given a TED Talk several years ago in which she discussed the phenomenon that many 20-somethings are getting married later and having kids later. As a result of this, many people simply view their 20s as a developmental downtime, where they push off their responsibilities to much later. Maybe they get financially educated much later and push off savings and investing till they're in their 30s, or they aren't learning enough about themselves either through experiences or therapy. It's widely known that 0 through 5 years is a critical time for a child's development, shaping a lot of the child's behaviors and personality going forward. But what is less commonly discussed is the second adult developmental phase that occurs in a person's 20s. It's the learning that we do, the relationships that we form, and the experiences that we have that can define us for decades to come. Our brains are primed for absorbing new information, whether it has to do with habits or skills or knowledge. And I really think that this is something that should be taken advantage of. There's a reason why when you get older, it can seem harder to learn a new language or a new instrument. It's not really your willpower, but more of a neurological struggle. That's why on this channel, I try to advocate for creating better personal and financial habits to set yourself up for success going forward. Take for instance a situation where you start investing in a retirement account at age 25. You put in $10,000 at a 6% annual return until age 40. And don't put in another penny until you retire at age 65. Because of the magic of compound interest and time, you will have just over $1 million in your account. However, if you just waited 10 years and started at 35 and continued to invest $10,000 until you retired, you will only have around $800,000 when you retire. This is just an example of how much of an effect compounding can have when you give it enough time. I really don't think that this is something that you should regret if you didn't start earlier, because the best time you can start is always right now. You shouldn't be defined by what you didn't do or didn't know, but you are responsible for the steps that you take right now.
It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me.
It's ultimately all about being intentional with your time rather than killing your time. In psychology, a term known as affective forecasting is used to define the phenomenon where people predict their emotional state after a particular decision or action. So, for instance, when we do something, our expectation is that it will make us feel better. The issue is that most of us do not really do a good job with predicting how we will feel. Let's just say you keep pushing off fitness and nutrition for years and years because you think you're in the prime of your life in your 20s. You've got a while before you need to care about it, so you just eat junk and sit on the couch because it makes you feel better. In reality though, building muscle is a lot easier in your 20s because your hormone levels are favorable to it, and so your metabolism will be higher. This won't always be the case though. As you get older, it does get harder to build that muscle and keep your metabolism high. So in the long run, you might be better off getting a head start on taking care of your fitness when you're younger. I think that the key here is to find a sense of balance through a focus on the slow but conscious steps you are taking to build a better future for yourself. It can get really exhausting to obsess over the results of your efforts, but if you are able to calmly focus on the process, you might be able to handle whatever this whirlwind of a decade might throw at you. Thanks for making it this far in the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.